Hey, folks, welcome to day 20 of 21 Days of Live. Today, we're talking about how to succeed in a custody battle. Key word here is battle. Let me get us started on Instagram. Great. So, we're talking about um, how to succeed in a custody battle. And I've got a number of points here that I want to touch on today. Let me grab my notes. The first thing is if you're dealing with a battle, then you're in that complex realm. It's either high conflict or you might have international or long distance parenting. You may be dealing with special needs children. It may be complex because of the finances more than the kids. But with complex divorce comes more triggered reactions and a higher level of conflict and contention. And so the most important thing is, regardless of what the other parent is doing, to be child centric. And I was just reading a social media meme from Christina McGee, who's a huge co parenting person. And she says, you don't want the children in the middle, you want them in the center. And I love that. And so when you're child centric, you're not thinking about what's fair for you and what you deserve or what you believe. You're really making every decision from a place of what's best for my child. And if you have nothing but judgment and a skewed view of their other parent, then you could really use a sounding board to make sure that what you believe is child centric is in fact child centric, and that you're not bringing your own anger, hurt, bitterness to the table in assessing what's best for the child. And so the first thing is to be child centric. And then after that is really to be realistic. And I've had so many conversations over the years, especially with the primary parent, which is often the mom, uh, where the other parent had a different division of labor. They were the one who was out doing the work. They weren't necessarily getting the children up in the morning or putting the child to bed at night or doing the homework with the child or bathing them. And so there's this assumption, and I absolutely was guilty of it myself, because he didn't, he can't, or because she didn't, she can't. And so if that is what your thinking is, I strongly encourage you um, to reflect on that, because it's often, and I mean often, untrue. So if the agreement in the marriage was, uh, I'll take care, I'll stay home, or I'll work less and I'll take care of the kids. I'll be the primary person to raise the kids and take care of the family, and you go out and bring home the bacon. And then you enter divorce and say, well, he can't because he hasn't. It's not fair, and it's going to create so much contention and reactivity. So being realistic is important. And I was going to talk about this later, but this is probably a better time. One of the best ways of being realistic, if you're in the early stages, is to start temporary shared parenting early. This is something I so strongly recommend. And there's a lot of pushback, because if you're the primary parent and now you're heading toward divorce, whether or not it was your decision, you're going to lose time with the kids. You want to hold on tight. And I did too. And I had this belief that he couldn't. And what temporary shared parenting does is it gives you evidence. And so if the other parent is saying, I want 50-50, I can do 50-50, and they're a C-suite executive that travels a lot, no matter how much they want to do 50-50, they probably can't. They can probably hire someone so that they have the kids 50% of the time, but they can't actually parent them. And that's really good information. And then there's wording that you can put into place to ensure that if that primary working spouse, is not with the children on their time, that you would have what we would call the right of first refusal to have the kids. And so, on the other hand, what often, very often happens is, in temporary shared parenting, the other parent does fine. Do they do it your way? No. Are they as meticulous? Probably not. Do they, cook and make the best meals or dress your daughter in the cutest out? Maybe not. But do they parent well, and are they present, and do they love their child? And these are the things we want to look at. So far, what we have is be child centric, um, and be realistic, and start temporary co-parenting early so that you have facts and data to back up what you're going to go to the negotiation table with, if that makes sense. And be curious about their parenting abilities by using the temporary shared parenting time and dynamic. And then the other piece is, how important is it? And this is another one where there's a lot of, it doesn't take much to bring a child into the world. Being a good parent is a whole different thing, and we can all have our litmus test and our judgment. Part of what I want to say is, as you're doing this negotiation, really think about how important is it. And so the examples I tend to give is, the kids may stay up later, and they may, I've had parents say that they're like not dressed in like the new clothes that I brought them. How important is it? How important is this going to be next week, next month, next year, that you're going to fight for more custody? And so really, if you start with 50-50, and I understand that there are people listening where you've got a spouse who, or soon to be ex, who might be emotionally unwell, disordered, might be manipulative, hostile toward the child. That those are the exceptions to the rule. In most cases, even where there's a tremendous amount of contention between spouses, most parents care about their children and can do a reasonably good job. Maybe not as good a job as you, but certainly a reasonably good job. So when you're starting to battle that, how important is it, could be a question that saves you thousands of dollars and dozens of months and gets you through your divorce and saves your kids dealing with that contention. Now, let's say you are in that situation where you're dealing with alcoholism, addiction, mental health. You've got someone you're divorcing who, is on a spectrum, autistic, narcissistic, bipolar, borderline personality, certainly the psycho or sociopathic personalities. You really need additional resources. And those additional resources include an attorney for the children. So you can't advocate for your children in the divorce unless you and your soon-to-be ex are fairly on the same page. And if you're in the courts, and I would imagine if you're in mediation or collaboration, they would at least ask an expert to come in. But if you're in the courts, they're really going to be proposing a separate attorney to represent your child or children, called a GAL, a guardian ad litem. And that person is solely there to understand your child's needs and represent them. There's a lot of information out there. If you've got an infant or a toddler, I'm not going to go into that, but there are special ways that they figure out what's in that child's best interest. But if a child is verbal in grade school, middle school, high school, they can speak to the child. They can get the child's perspective, as well as the parents, but they're going to get the child's perspective. They're going to speak to your attorney a lot. And a forensic evaluation, which is called a lot of different things in different states. I'm going to say it's a custody evaluation. It's a psychological forensic. It's when you hire a mental health expert to basically assess you and your soon-to-be ex and the children to determine the best custody schedule. This is something I had to do. I had to hire a custody evaluator. I had to hire an attorney for the children. It's scary. It's very scary. And I'm not going to go into all of that today, although I can do a live on those individually down the road. Knowing that this person exists, doing some research, if you have an attorney, talking to your attorney, determining whether or not this is a path that you have to go down. If you're really worried that the judge isn't getting how disordered the other parent is, or how scared the kids are of the other parent, or how debilitating or negatively impactful that parent's time with the children is, then you may or may not be right. That is when you need a mental health expert who comes in, interviews mom, interviews dad, or one parent and the other, interviews the children. In my case, they also uh, wanted to see me with the kids, wanted to see dad with the kids. I have clients where that custody evaluator came to the house. I've had clients where they want to speak to the children's therapist, the parents' therapist. They want to talk to school personnel. You have an opportunity to give them other people. If you've had a nanny, if you have other people who have seen particular things, these are all things that you can bring to the custody evaluator. So if you're dealing in a situation where you're really concerned about your child's mental and emotional health while with the other parent, then understanding the role of this person, this custody evaluator, this forensic child custody evaluator, would be really valuable for you. And so, in summary, when we're looking at how to succeed in the custody battle, you want to be child centric, you want to be realistic, you want to make sure to engage in temporary custody as early as possible so that you gain evidence and data to either support your fear or calm your fear. Getting curious about the other parent's parenting abilities. You want to ask how important it is at every turn, and you want to understand the additional support that you might need, which would be an attorney for the children called a GAL, or a custody evaluation, which is a mental health expert evaluating. And so these are meant to be quick snippets. I hope you gained value, and I will be back tomorrow with my last of the 21-day lives. And I've enjoyed this so much and gotten so much positive feedback that I may go to at least more lives on a weekly basis. And so if you have a topic, if there's something that you're struggling with that you would love to hear me chat about for a little bit, please either drop that topic in the comments, or you can email info@journeybeyonddivorce.com, and I will add it to my editorial calendar. I might even add it to my podcast editorial calendar. So please, if there's something you want to hear about, ask and you shall receive. You have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow. That's it for now.